2018 BMW 2 Series Active Tourer Review. The good points of BMW 2 Series Active Tourer. Badge kudos. Premium interior. 4-wheel drive option. 3-cylinder refinement. The bad points of BMW 2 Series Active Tourer. Tough competition. Awkward styling. Can get pricey. Among the barrage of the latest SUVs stealing sales from small people carriers left, right and center, it's amazing that this 2 Series Active Tourer exists, and BMW has facelifted it into 2018 form. But then BMW wouldn't do its job when it didn't offer something for all. And rivals, for example the Ford Ka-Max, Volkswagen Golf SV and Citroën C4 Picasso, needs to be worried. Because of the BMW badge, each Series Active Tourer is easily the most desirable compact 5-seat people carrier in the marketplace. There's a 7-seat version due later at the same time, and both promise to supply practicality to BMW fans that can't live without the company's image and gratification credentials. See also the BMW 2 Series Grand Tourer Review. Front-wheel drive as standard. Watching the spec sheet they may expect to be considered a little disappointed. Gasp! The BMW 2 Series Active Tourer was the initial car to emerge through the hallowed halls of BMW that sends its drive through leading wheels, so long as you ignore the BMW and MINI label, of course. However, what this means is it's much easier to drive previously, even though ultimately it's not quite as precise or engaging. Being a 3 Series saloon, it's still the sharpest from the compact MPV pack with good steering and excellent body control. Add to which the option on the xDrive 4-wheel drive system, a selection that's been incredibly popular through the rest in the firm's range within the UK. And it also is no surprise that 225i and 220d models is going to be available using this later in. BMW 2 Series Active Tourer, petrol or diesel choices. There's some engines from which to choose, one 4-cylinder diesel and another 3-cylinder petrol, both which has a focus on economy and efficiency instead of performance. The former produces 150 horsepower and 330 Nm by reviewing the 2.0-liter turbocharged unit, completing the 0.62 mph sprint in 8.9 seconds. Slightly slower, as a result of its smaller displacement, 1.5 liters will be the 3-cylinder turbocharged petrol, that can 9.3 seconds to finish the same benchmark sprint and produces 136 horsepower and 220 Nm of torque. The good news is it's more refined, and you'd fight to detect it's a 3-cylinder unless driving it problematical. Both engines come in a variety of tunes, in the 216D through the 220D diesel. In addition, there are the 220i and 225i petrol engines. A choice of automatic gearboxes, 6-speed with the 3 cylinders and 8-speed for your 4, supplement the typical 6-speed manual gearbox of all engines. BMW 2 Series Active Tourer, still an environmentally friendly choice. The 3-cylinder petrol and efficient diesel both boast industry-leading emissions, whilst the plug-in hybrid version adds limited battery-only running. All diesels incorporate some form of exhaust gas treatment tech in the type of particulate filter and selective catalytic reduction using AdBlue. The lower-powered petrol and diesel models create less than 120 gkm of CO2, ensuring cheap annual road tax costs, and in many cases the triple-cylinder petrol can return over 57 miles per gallon, the diesel bettering this by over 10 miles per gallon within the combined cycle. That's all up to the firm's Efficientdynamics Kit, which on both the Series Active Tourer includes lightweight steel for your structure, auto start-stop, brake energy recuperation with an aero curtain which improves aerodynamics to decrease fuel consumption. BMW 2 Series Active Tourer, practical and good to push. Once you're in the evening draw and the badges, this car is promised practicality that is both the Series Active Tourer's key appeal. Unlike a number of its rivals, there isn't any individual seats inside rear. Nevertheless, the bench might be split 402,040 for folding and slid forwards and backwards to vary luggage space behind. In its most luxurious position, legroom rivals that on the firm's flagship 7 Series saloon. The boot holds 486 liters within this setup, which is aided by the large tailgate opening and flat load floor, with hardly any load lip. Fold all from the rear seats as well as the space increases to carry up to 1,510 liters, or about the same like a 3 Series Touring. BMW 2 Series Active Tourer facelift for 2018. For 2018, the 2 Series Active Tourer has become facelifted. It was a really light-touch makeover, with new lights and bumpers at the leading and rear, plus some tweaks on the interior. Job done. The LED headlights are already sharpened with BMW's Corona Ring daytime running lights. They could be upgraded to adaptive LEDs. The regular models plus more aggressive M Sport receive bumpers that differentiate them further, and all of models obtain a full-width lower grille below the kidney grille, which is enlarged for 2018. The instrument panel continues to be updated, along with the xDrive has become upgraded depending on the rest with the BMW range. The verdict. Although the compact MPV class is slowing dying away, a victim on the SUV steamroller, it is good to know that BMW has created a good job of the first entrant in this particular once vibrant market sector. The BMW 2 Series Active Tourer features a low starting price. There are an abundance of tempting finance options available. It's available in Sport, Luxury and M Sport trims. Standouts are its nice steering and road manners, quality interior, plus a premium residuals, which will keep monthly finance costs competitive. We will, however, know it you head straight for the X1 instead, though. Watch the full BMW 2 Series Active Tourer review below. What kind best suits your own self? At launch you will discover only 2 engines available, and as a family car, BMW 2 Series Active Tourer performance is not a priority. All are based on a new modular construction, either 1.5-liter 3-cylinder examples or larger 2.0-liter units with 4 cylinders, and fitted transversely sideways in lieu of lengthways underneath the car's bonnet. Petrol engines. The 218i. That's actually a 1.5-liter 3-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine, produces 134 bhp, which enables it to sprint from 062 miles per hour within 9.2 seconds. It's a really refined unit, without giveaway that by most conventions it's missing a cylinder, and responds perfectly perkily from low down inside rev range, even though it does its best higher up the rev range. Equally hushed at speed, 2 Series Active Tourer owners are going to be more concerned about refinement than straight-line performance. Those which do crave more have to wait until November, if the 218i is supplemented because of the 220i and 225i xDrive. The latter will provide as much as 227 bhp, and comes using the firm's 4-wheel drive xDrive and 8-speed automatic gearbox as standard. Diesel engines. If economy and efficiency will be the priorities, then it's the 218d that could likely catch your eye. This 2.0-liter 4-cylinder diesel seems to emit only 109 gkm but tend to sprint from 062 miles per hour in 8.9 seconds. On account of its 148 bhp and 330 Nm of torque. The 3-cylinder petrol has it licked for refinement, although diesel does feel more willing within the move. Like the Petrol Engines, the 218D is joined in November from the 216D and 220D, and may you wish the 220D is also provided by xDrive, where it really is fitted using the 8-speed automatic gearbox as standard. Gearboxes. There are 3 gearboxes to select from, the especially smooth and efficient 8-speed automatic, and then for 3-cylinder engines a 6-speed version. Those who would rather swap cogs themselves may find BMW's 6-speed manual gearbox instead, that is easy to use using a short throw and relaxed shift action. Once regarded or perhaps marketed because ultimate driving machine, the rollout of a front-wheel drive BMW, and specifically a tied people carrier, shocked the BMW purists. However, if you're a fan on the firm's products in addition to their driving appeal, then have no fear. While the 2 Series Active Tourer won't trouble an M3 around a racetrack, it's as sharp as any of their family-orientated competitors. In fact, still it feels like a BMW drive-in automobile, regardless of the change in engine and transmission layout, as well as for most drivers you'd be hard-pushed to remember the rear wheels aren't being driven. Plus there's 4-wheel drive xDrive models being presented to 225i and 220d later throughout the year too. The cars we drove featured the optional electronic damper control, that allows drivers to tailor the vehicle's responses for their requirements and road conditions. Variable sports steering is surely an option, and from experience with other BMW products on this fitted lifestyle a noticeable difference for keen drivers, even though that's not necessarily who this vehicle is geared towards. Regardless, body control is very useful and the 2 Series Active Tourer corners flatly and without fuss, even at speed. It's easily as good drive an automobile as the Ford Ka-Max or Golf SV. That's rapidly cars 1,563 mm high, plus in part down to your wide 1,561 mm front and 1,562 mm rear track. There is however firmness to your chassis that never quite vanishes entirely, which suggests the Citroën C4 Picasso carries a more comfortable ride. As expected, the 2 main Series Active Tourer comes filled with BMW's electronic stability control system, but like its X models X1, X3 and X5 one example is it is possible to fully disengage it, however not many of these compact people carriers will venture onto a track. BMW expects around 75% of 2 Series Active Tourer buyers in the future from conquest sales. But to the other 25% which might be likely to come from your firm's other models, the cabin layout is going to be relatively familiar. The layering design with the dashboard is one area we've seen along the rest in the range, as would be the freestanding multi-function display screen within the center, even though the instruments have become much like those found elsewhere too. That said, some in the switchgear has gotten an update, essentially the most noticeable being the climate controls which look vaguely paying homage to an Audi system, as well as the automatic gear lever is really a different design to prospects we have already seen in the firm. You'll probably must take some time to familiarize yourself together with the iDrive interface, unless you're already a BMW owner, by which instance you'll wonder the way you ever managed without this intuitive control system. Add to that excellent material quality, fit and finished, plus neat switchgear, and the 2 Series Active Tourer's cabin is one from the highlights. Built to handle families, it really should be no surprise that BMW 2 Series Active Tourer comfort was near the top in the firm's priority list during development. Certainly, the seats are usually BMW within their range of adjustment. There's plenty, without excuse, for not determining the best driving position. That said, you are doing sit 30 mm higher than inside the maker's X1 Junior 4x4, plus it feels high through the driving seat. Along together with the seat adjustment in the beginning, there's lots of reach and rake movement from the steering wheel too. on the move, especially from the 3-cylinder petrol model. Both the Series Active Tourer impresses. On this engine by far the most noticeable noise is from your wind, as opposed to the pistons, unless you're really accelerating hard. The diesel isn't quite as serene, however once you've reached your desired cruising speed it quickly settles into a hushed note, with simply a little vibration over the controls. An underlying firmness on the suspension, that permits the BMW to corner greater than a Citroën C4 Picasso by way of example, entails you can feel most on the ruts and bumps below you though, and that's without selecting sport mode inside the adjustable suspension. But even though the ride isn't pillow soft, it's rarely wearing, and customarily very well composed. There are 4 trim choices for your BMW 2 Series Active Tourer from the UK. The entry-level SE is supplemented by Sport, Luxury and M Sport models. Standard BMW 2 Series Active Tourer equipment. Regardless one's trim you decide on, all BMW 2 Series Active Tourers come well equipped, as you'd wish for their post £20,000 starting price. Practicality is taken care of together with the automatic tailgate, which hides the 402,040 split rear seat and 6,040 sliding base with electronic folding, and that means you don't must clamber around within the rear watchy to facilitate large loads. Life's made equally easy for your drive as a result of Bluetooth connectivity plus a USB interface for that BMW professional radio with single CD player, that allows for audio streaming and provides DAB radio. Everything is displayed for the central freestanding, as will be the current fashion 6.5-inch monitor. Keeping occupants cool may be the dual-zone climate control system, while rain and light await sensors activate the headlights and wipers automatically, and rear parking sensors mean there's no excuse for backing into anything unexpected. Drive performance control with EcoPro helps save fuel, as a result of efficiency tips. And also the car could be started within the button without having a key. If buyers fancy something a bit sportier, then it's the £1,250 more pricey sport model that can catch their eye, adding 17-inch alloy wheels as an alternative to 16-inch items, sports front seats, LED ambient lighting and tweaks for the interior trim and exterior styling. Next inside lineup will be the luxury model. £2,000 more than the common SE, which with its 17-inch alloy wheels of any different design, leather seats, LED ambient lighting, chrome exterior details and wood trim within the interior. November 2014 sees the development of M Sport models, costing an additional £3,000 on the SE specification cars, and changed the look from the car on account of an aerodynamics package, specific M Sport suspension, 18-inch M Sport alloy wheels and sports controls and seat combination. Optional BMW 2 Series Active Tourer accessories. There exist several options packages available within the BMW 2 Series Active Tourer, each offering a lot of money of extra kit for no more cost compared to the individual items added together. The technology package adds a reversing camera, comfort access, that enables you to open the boot with just a swing of the foot below the trunk bumper, and adaptive LED headlights. Choose the Navigation Plus package and you're treated with a new 8.8-inch full-color display, connected drive services with live traffic information along with a head-up display. There's also the common navigation package with smaller screen and regular traffic information along with a driver comfort package with adaptive cruise control and park assist. After the list is extensive, and includes the panoramic glass sunroof, which floods the cabin with light, turning it into feel even larger, along with the upgraded Harman Kardon head unit, active cruise control as well as other trim and color choices. As soon as BMW 2 Series Active Tourer safety has still for being tested by Euro NCAP, however we could surmise, all signs other products in BMW's lineup, that it'll either acquire a full 5 stars or come not far from it. Certainly it's got a lot of safety kit aboard as standard, including 2 rear ISOFIX mounting points and another in the leading passenger seat. And if the worst happen, and you've an accident, BMW Emergency Call will automatically contact you and also inform your neighborhood emergency services if any in the car's airbags are deployed. A raft of connected drive options further increase the 2 Series Active Tourer's safety, with adaptive LED headlights, a head-up display as well as an active cruise control that can brake gets hot or detects you're closing around the car right in front, are common available. On the surface of that, Active Guard and Driving Assistance stops via wandering between lanes too, as detecting objects and pedestrians as part of your way, warning you with their presence, in case required braking you to some halt. Space is the vital thing here, so BMW 2 Series Active Tourer Practicality is one from the highlights on the entire package. In comparison towards the 1 Series, the compact people carrier is 16 mm longer and 25 mm wider. Despite a fractionally shorter wheelbase, the 2 main series boasts more interior space, with rear legroom comparable with the 7 Series. Certainly, it's not an issue for a full-sized adult to sit down behind another in complete comfort. That rear bench slip forward or backwards too, varying lots of people between boot and passenger space as required, though there's no full removal option. This reaches to beyond the passenger space too, and using the rear seats electronically folded flat, the burden space is related to that in the firm's 3 Series Touring. The 2 Series Active Tourer sports a very wide rear hatch opening too, to make loading larger items easier. Including the underfloor utility area, there's as much as 460 liters of space available. If you've got longer what you should carry, next the optional folding front passenger seat is usually a worthwhile option. 2 ISOFIX points are standard within the rear, in conjunction with one on the leading passenger seat, and BMW say an electric-powered handbrake is used to free up space inside the cabin. Overall it feels spacious, although the layered design from the dashboard shows that taller front seat passengers will notice their knees knocking contrary to the lower section on the dashboard across the glove box area.